Hello, Spring here. It's Sunday evening, the 15th of April 2018. Just finished work, managed to get out a bit early. So I thought I would start on the V-strom. Just going to give it a service, normal service. When I bought it, as usual, it's had a service, i.e. the filter and the oil's been changed, the easy bits. I stripped it down last week and had a look at the air filter. That's dirty, needs changing. I guess I didn't touch the plugs either, so I ordered a little service kit which basically come with the oil and oil filter and everything, and it was so cheap I thought, well, I'll start afresh anyway. I know it's got new oil and a new oil filter on it, but I'll do the lot. It takes about an hour to get to the air filter and the plugs because of all the plastics and the engine guards and all the bits on it. So don't know how much of this I'm going to film, but it probably be the usual. You'll see it in various stages of depravity. Anyway, so I'm going to get on with this, and it's literally just started raining. It's been great weather for the last 2 days. It's been sunny and dry. I've been at work, and actually now it's proper chucking it down. So I guess I'm going to be doing the V-strom in the garage, which is not my favourite place. I like to wheel it outside and have a nice bit of space, but there's room in here, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I have got air filter, pair of spark plugs, oil filter. That was the service kit. Basically I didn't need the oil filter, but I already had 2 litres of oil left over from the XJR, so I just grabbed another 1 litre. This particular supplier, I have a trade card, so it's really cheap. Some of this stuff's really cheap. My car stuff and that, I normally go to my local car place where I get a trade discount anyway, but sometimes for some things it's worth going to these people. So anyway, I shall I've got to take off all of this screen, all the top fairing, the side fairings, this piece here, all of this. This, I can manage to do it without taking this off, but it means I can't get this fully forward. I have to sort of let it dangle. But this time I'm going to take that off. That's got to come off. Radiator has to be undone and flipped. Can't remember, forwards or backwards to get to the front spark plug, and the rear spark plug is buried deep in there, as is the air filter. Now, I've already been in and lubricated all of the throttle body springs and levers and bits, because I noticed on my last V-strom, the little one, the 650, it all got a bit chewy, and all I had to do was lube all of those components where the fuel injection goes into the 2 bodies, and you've got a primary and a secondary thing, and there's loads and loads of cables and springs and stuff everywhere. So all I do is just squirt that. I use my chain lube because it sprays on and it soaks in, and then it dries and it stays, you know, it's not like WD-40 just runs off everywhere. So anyway, enough of that. I shall start. Just get her up on the centre stand, try and get her in the middle, and start taking all of this off. So that'll be about an hour's work, which is great fun. I forgot I need to warm it up first, so just fired her up with the exhaust sticking out there. Get it nice and warm, get the oil runny. I shall bring her in and get all that off, and then the oil can be draining while I'm taking all this off. Right, got her warmed up. we have four little Allen bolts to take the sump guard off. So can't do it one-handed, can't be bothered to get my tripod out, so let's get them. Right, 4 of them to do. Well, that's my first issue. That's been mullered, so I've had to take this bracket off rather than this. That bracket sits there, but hey ho, let's get those bolts. Trying all of them, but that fastener that should look like that doesn't. So right, that's that. I'll get the tray now, get the sump plug out, see what size that is, whatever size that is, and whip that filter off and replace it with exactly the same filter. That's not even, it's about 100 miles old, that. Okay, reset Spriggy. Alright, sump plug is the 17. I've just cracked it off. It was done up to the traditional 1000 Newton meters by the dealer who sold it to me. I've got the spec for doing it up next time. I think it's 23 or something. I've written it on the garage wall. So it comes the messy bit. It's gone in the. Always nice when the sump plug goes in the oil pan. But look, that's it's virtually brand new. Never mind, eh? Might as well start afresh. And have a good look round, make sure everything's as it should be. Okay, dirty fingers. Oil filter was not done up ridiculously tight, so I've got my strap wrench on it anyway, and it's coming off okay. Or will be when I've got 2 hands on it. Alright, oil filter. It was way too tight, but not so ridiculous that I couldn't do it with a filter wrench. So, excuse wobbly cam. I think I'm gonna, normally I fish around in the bowl there for the sump plug if I drop it in, but I just thought I've got a telescopic magnet, so I might as well fish around with a telescopic magnet and find that one. Right, this can all drain for a couple of hours while I get all this stuff off and do all the other bits. So at least we know she'll be pretty much dry. Right, first thing to come off here is the screen. Just these two Allen thingies. Allen bolts, Allen screws. She just one-handed, smack everything while I'm doing it. Hands in the way of the camera. To beware, there's a little washer on these. In the magnetic tray, not off into the 4th dimension. As you can probably tell with this bike, this is purely utilitarian. Unlike the XJR, where I wouldn't be attacking it like this because it was all pretty and shiny and lovely. This bike gets dirty, it gets bashed about, it purely is for getting from A to B, for sticking luggage on and hauling. Anyway, this, so I'll show you, just pulls up, that's it, just slots in there. So it's going to be a huge pile of stuff soon. This is where I put stuff precariously and it all falls down and breaks. Okay, next, right, I need to get this bit off here, which is some plastic rivets which I've replaced because I broke them to get them off last time, but I changed them for ones that you can pull out the little centre a bit easier. I've got a big pile of them now. I bought a load the other day, all different sizes. Oh, there goes the centre. So that comes out. There's a couple of these, a couple more of these which I need to push from the back to push the centres out, and then these, and it all pulls out, and this dash pulls out over these rubber grommets. I'll do these. I need to get these pushed out from underneath, so I'll have to do that two-handed, so I shall be back. Right, that one, these little rivets, just if you push that it releases, they pop out. Why they can't have normal screws, I don't know. Far too easy. Right, I've taken out these ones, and this, I think I need to take those out, and those, this, yeah, that connects through there, so I need to get that one. Methinks. Yep. Something else holding it on, can't remember what it is. Gonna undo the other one before I go mad and break anything. Yep. This bit here has one of them sort of doobies which goes into a rubber thing, and as if that wasn't bad enough, it's also got this hole here, clips over this knobbly here, and then everything else. Oh yeah, there's another one of those, another one of those on each side, which is what I was fighting with. Where is it? That little cover goes on here. You have to press it over these instrument adjusty things. Right, well, I'm going to have a little fight getting this out of there, and then we'll get on to the next bit, which is the top fairing. Okay, I now need to undo what you might not be able to see. There are two Phillips screws shoved right down there. There are more of these sort of mushroom type push fit things. I also need to unclip both indicators from the loom, undo all of these, and I've also got to take this off if I want to get this right away off the bike, so I'm going to crack on with that. Right, took the seat off because this little, oh, I haven't undone it, this little panel pops off on some more of them mushroom jobbies. There's my doobry. All the technical terms, of course. I think my little Allen wrench went. No, it didn't. That went on the floor. So did that. The perils of one-handed mechanicery. Right. Bits falling out everywhere. I'm piling it all up here. Great. When I slam that down, I've just the two rivets have just flown out. So that's a little bit of food for the twilight zone. Hopefully some of these little, yeah, some of them will fit. They'll be fine. They can be eaten by the fourth dimension. Right, that's off. Right, this is all now. No, it's not all. This is sort of floppy-ish. Yeah, I've got these two screws down there to undo. Get them undone. Get these indicators unclipped. I should be able to. Oh no, there's two more little beauties I put in the other day. You can't see these. Anyway, these two have got to come out, and then hopefully I can pull it all forward. Okay, right. On reflection, I'm going to cheat again, like I did the other day. This crash bar stuff is stopping all of this pulling right off the bike. I've managed to got it all loose and all forward. But I can't. Let's take that out. I can't quite get this off, or actually maybe I do want to take this off because something in here, there's a loose screw somewhere, and as I rock the bike to and fro it rolls across. Now if I can see that from here, we'll leave that. There's enough room to get the tank off now. Down here. Let me have a look. If I can find that loose thing with it how it is, I'll leave it on. If not, the crash bars will come off. I think there's 4 bolts on each side. The crash bars and all the luggage racking and the standard rack, next winter I'm going to take all of that off and get it powder coated. I did it on the 650, and I've now got a decent powder coater. I was struggling for a powder coater last time, but I've got one now, so that'll all get done when it's deepest winter, when I'm not going to use it the most. Right, yeah, I'll sort it. I'm going to take it off, take it all off, and then I can copper grease all the threads so that when I take it off next time it'll be smooth. In for a penny and all that. There's 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there, same on the other side, and then there's a joiny bit in the middle. I can't even see, it's too dark, but that undoes, and then you can take it off half and half each side. And no, I can't undo my tool. I can't remember from the, oh, that's too tight. Extension, don't know where that is. I can't remember from the baby, the wee strom, whether taking this off actually releases this bit of the frame, but I guess we'll find out in a minute. If it does, I'll have to wang the bolts back in until we're done. What else is? Right, I'll undo the other side and undo the middle. It's well and truly wedged. Right, yeah. That's all the bolts. That came out. It slots together. That slots into that. And that bolt goes into there. And then it all falls out and comes crashing to the ground. Okay, there's the spacer. Yeah, I'll clean this up and lube it. Oh, found one of those clips back from the fourth dimension. Okay, so that's off. This is all now really loose, so I'm gonna have to put the camera down and concentrate on taking this off. I don't really want to drop it and smash it all, and I think I'm going to go and get a cuppa. If I found that sound dazed and confused, it is because I'm in the middle of a little 12-day run at work. Been doing some pretty hefty hours over the weekend, so it messes with me karma. So I've got another 5 days to go, and then this will hopefully all be back together. Well, it will, because each evening I'll do a bit on it if I don't get it finished tonight, and then I can next weekend go out on the bike, which is lovely. The Escort has got a queue of people waiting to come and see it. I've got people coming from all over the place, and I'm just queuing them up. First one's coming Tuesday, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm gonna shut down for a bit and I'll be back. Not as easy as I expected to get that off. There was, it's so dark, there was a loom trapped down there behind this, and I tried to unplug it, and you know what the loom plugs are like. Me and Dave Mirius' shed have been having a little chat about plugs. He did a video on the Harley Deutsch plugs, which was really informative. Anyway, I've got around it by just popping that little one and bringing the loom this side. Oh, it's so dark, you can't see. Get a torch, Springy, come on. Right, yeah, the loom went under that bit, so I've popped this and brought it out the side. That loom there, I managed to get one clip off with my hand. The light in the way of the camera. Yeah, I managed to get one of these unclipped, and this one wasn't having any of it. So anyway, there we are. So if the miraculous happened and I decided to keep this bike for more than 5 minutes, because you know what I'm like, one day this would probably end up naked. It would probably end up naked, but still have all the crash bars on it. That's quite a nice headlight without the fairing. It's reminiscent of the, I think, looks to me a bit like the Yamaha MT9, MT3, whatever. Anyway, can't really see it. Okay, kettle on, I think. Well, some of that footage was sideways. I don't know why. It's just sometimes with my phone camera, when I'm going upside down, it for some reason films it sideways. So that was fun. Anyway, I shall carry on now, tank next, and we'll get into it, see how far we get. Okie dokie, right, tank is 12mm bolt at the back, which I've already undone. Little thing there's like a rubber mount underneath it, and there is a bolt which is a 10mm bolt goes through there, the nut on that end, and this is the second nut it's had because the first one disappeared and I couldn't find it. But, I greased that up last week when I had it off. We were matron. Okay, I need to prop up the back of the tank because we've got fuel injection. So it's got a pluggy wire thing for the pump and the fuel gauge, and what else it got under there? Oh, it's got the strange modern fuel line awkward clip that doesn't like coming open. But we'll prop this up and have a look. That's the little rubber bit that sits under the tank, and I've got the filter propping it up. So let's have a little looky, see if we can see all the plugs. Right, this is a vent line, which you can't see because it's all black. Let's get that off. Wow, that's tight. Right, that's the vent line. Comes off that beastie there. This is another lovely clip which I seem to remember the other day. Didn't want to come out very easily. Let's see if it's, yeah, that's all right. That's going up to the, well, that's the electrics for the fuel. My brain's gone. The fuel pump and the fuel gauge. Let's nip around the other side. I might stop this in a minute. When I get the tank off and the air filter cover off, I might just quit for tonight and do it again after work tomorrow, because I'm fried. Okay, this is the awesome fuel clip hose of loveliness, and oh, it was alright getting it off last time, but I've lubed it all, put a load of grease in there, so hopefully this time it'll come straight off because I lubed it. Fantastic. Okay, that I should be able to pull this tank straight off now. The front, there's where's my torch? Torchy, come on. Right, there's two lugs on the tank which sit around the back of these rubber dampers. And I just remembered, since I stripped this down last time, about 10 days ago, of course I stripped it down on the Sunday. No, actually it was 7 days ago, it was last Sunday. Just curiosity got the better of me, so I stripped it down to see if the air filter was any good. It was Sunday, and I didn't have any of the service parts to do it with, so it was a practice run for today. But at least I got everything lubed and I know what I'm doing, and I wouldn't want to film it the first time, because I honestly, it was probably 18 months ago since I had the 650, so that's a lot of bikes since then. I think I've had 3 since then. So right, I'm going to get this tank off, but what I was going to say is, because I went out on it after I'd stripped it all down last Sunday, very cleverly I filled the tank right up, so that's now got 22 litres of fuel in it, or 20 litres, whatever it carries. So I'll carefully take that off, and I was going to stick it on the bench, but I don't think I've got room, so I think I'm going to put something nice down there for it to sit on. Right, tank is happy on the floor down there till I trip over it. Okay, this is the air filter housing, and it's got a bunch of bunch of Phillips or posi screws all around it. So we'll whip that off, and there's your rear, the rear plug, and this is the rear set of Fandango linkages, which to get to them we have to take all of this off, and there's all sorts of gubbins connected, but that was not service, that was just me, so that's all been off and back on again, and everything's been lubed. It's the same on the front cylinder, it's got all this stuff. So let's whip this off. Okay, that comes off. It's got 2 loose screws at the back, and then all the other screws are like held captive, which is a brilliant idea, but why they didn't do it at the back I don't know. But anyway, that's that. And there's your air filter, quite dirty. Now 13th for the 3rd 18, so is that right? Well, it looks like 13th for the 3rd 18, maybe, unless somebody's written 16 upside down. Or is that 13th for the 3rd 19? Maybe it's 19, that's when it needs changing according to the book. But anyway, yeah, that's not good enough for me. I want to start clean. So that's in the junk pile, which is not a junk pile because I've actually got the crash bars down there, and this is where it all happens. So all those linkages open and shut, all these bits, there's primaries and secondaries. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get the air filter in there, put it back on, get this rear plug out, set the gaps, put that in, and then a bit more access to the radiator now. So I need to move the rad bottom or top. I could look in the manual, but hey, that'd be no fun, would it? Alright, air filter's back on. Can't get any nearer because I've run out of juice in the battery, in the phone, so I'm tethered, so I'm going to put her back on. I don't use K&N air filters, you know, the reusable ones that last a million years, and you just wash them out and dry them and put oil on them and that. I don't use them mainly because these air filters are literally pence. It's, you know, it's probably about £5 that, and I never keep a bike long enough to get the advantage of getting a K&N filter. The last bike, most bikes I do maybe get 2 services out of me, and that's only because I service everything I own twice as much as it needs. The only bike I've ever kept for a long period of time was my 2000 X-Reg 2000 Suzuki Bandit Mark II, which I actually kept for 7 years. But even then, I still didn't get a K&N filter for it. But filters and plugs, and you look in the books, I mean, plugs, it's, I don't know, 20,000 miles, 30,000, it's ridiculous. And air filters, they certainly don't change them every service. It's literally, like every vehicle these days, it's just oil and filter and have a look at that every 3 or 4 years, chuck it away when it's crap. I'm not like that. I like to change everything. The whole service kit was about 40 quid, including the oil. So, you know, for me, no, I won't change the air filter and the plugs next time I change the oil, but I'll keep an eye on it when it's dirty, or if I'm never going to get 20,000 miles on this, you know, there'll be about 18 bikes between now and 20,000 miles. So anyway, I'm going to get that on, and then plugs out, and then we'll check the gaps on the new plugs. These are twin electrode Sparky plugs. Come on, let's focus. Yep. Nope, she don't want to focus. 20 electrode anyway, and that gap is 0.6 of a mil, so I will check the gap, and it's 0.6 both sides of the electrode, so they'll be going in. Just a quick this clamp here, which clamps the air filter housing to the throttle body, the rear one is prone to coming loose and working its way up, and you'll know because your bike will run funny, it will stall because it throws it into a frenzy. So when you are doing your service, just check that, make sure it's tight. When I had the air filter out, I pushed everything down nice and tight, and I managed to get the front one and get it done up. You can't ram these things all the way home because they'll just split the rubber. You've got to be quite careful about it. Anyway, right, plug. Let's see. Oh, I was expecting that to fight me. So let's see what we got down there. Okay, let's the plug come out. Looks pretty. In fact, it looks brand new. So maybe they changed the plugs and it was loose. I mean, it was just biting. It didn't even have to. It literally, if you could get your fingers down that hole, you'd be down to undo it with your fingers, which ain't clever. So anyway, they may have changed the plugs because they look spanking brand new to me compared to the ones I've just bought. So anyway, new ones will go in, and I shall keep these in the boxes for you never know. Oh yeah, and the gap in the manual, it actually says 0.6 to 0.7 of a mil, and these are both set at 0.7, so I am actually leaving them at 0.7. Just checked them with the old feeler gauge. So where's my new ones? There's my two new ones. Right, I shall get the front one. Sorry, I shall get the rear one in there, and then we'll have a look at this, getting the front one in. Right, can't remember where I got to. Anyway, plugs in, plug caps on. I think I understand why it felt loose. I don't think it was. The torque setting for the plug is 11 Newton meters, which is just bugger all. And thinking about it, when I put the ratchet on and cracked it, I suppose 11 Newton meters, maybe the last person just did it up to 9 or 8 or whatever. So yeah, I suppose it probably wasn't loose, to be honest. It was in there, but only just. But 11 Newton meters is only just. So I'm going to have a look at the front cylinder now and see if my memory serves me well. I think I undo that, and all of this just will pivot forwards. Let's see if that's right. So, and let's get a 10mm, not an 8mm. Right, I've took the 10mm out, which gives us, I wonder if it gives us enough room. Let me try and shine the light up there somehow. Yeah, there's probably enough room. I'll have a go. Right, that's where the plug leads there. Now this is a proper two-handed job, so I'm gonna just swap that plug over. You know how to change plugs. Anyway, that's how you get to it on this, I hope. Right, it wasn't enough room, and then I remembered that if you take the top bolt off the rad, the other side it hasn't got a bolt, it just hooks over a stump. So sorry you can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, there you go, there's that one. Then hopefully, does it drop down or does it not? That one comes off that side. Right, that one's loose. Sorry, that pops on there. It's all loose. I'm just gonna struggle with this now and get it done. Well, that was an absolute chore getting the front plug in. Luckily, I bought the toolkit that the bike didn't have in it. So that, you definitely need that, or you're taking the rad off if you want to use normal plug spanners and ratchets and extensions. You've got to take that rad off. So anyway, it's in. I'm going to put the oil filter back on, get the oil in it, get the tank back on, fire it up, and then tomorrow I think I'm going to put the whole rest of it back together, or I might just have a really late one tonight. But so oil in, oil and sump plug and oil in, oil filter on, sump plug on, oil in that order, I think. Well, just for a laugh, I thought I'd drain that instead of just pouring it into whatever. I thought I'll drain it with my vacuum drain thing. That's a bit elaborate, isn't it? Well, that can be draining down, and then hopefully I'll see the sump plug in there somewhere. But I'm just messing about really, I think. New oil filter. It comes out of the packet with a bit of oily substance around the O-ring, which is nice, that's good. Not dry as a bone. I'm just gonna, bearing in mind this oil is, I don't know, 200 miles old, I'm just gonna use a bit of that for a bit of extra lube. Bit in the thread. I'm going to clean my hands, get my rubber gloves on for a bit of grip on this. Right, oh, you might be upside down again. Oil filter's on. I managed to get I got it to seat, and then I got half a turn and just a bit more, and that's plenty solid on there. So I'm going to go and hunt for the sump plug now in here. Hopefully it'll show itself in a minute. Alrighty, sump plug's in, 23 Newton meters. So I shall throw some oil in it, put a tank on, and start her up, and that'll be it. I won't bore you with putting it all back together again. Well, this extra litre of oil I got, it's got the little spout like you do on a gearbox oil and differentials and, you know, ATF and all that sort of thing. It's got a wee spout, so I figured I marked off where the litre was on this, and I've just bungeed it up, and I'm letting it do its own thing, and then I shall fill it up again with another litre, and then work out. It's supposed to be 2.9 litres from dry, or 2.7 without the filter. So anyway, I can basically use that as a sort of a funnel, or I could just get my little funnel out and pour it in there, but this is fun. Well, I've put in 2.7 litres, which is out of focus. It's sort of there. It says 2.7 litres there, but in the manual it says with a filter it's 2.9. So I'm going to put it back together, start her up for about 30 seconds just to fill up the oil filter and the rest of the engine, let it settle down, and then I'll top it up to where I want it. After that, I've got just about the right amount of oil. I gave up with that idea, and I just used a small funnel and just poured it in, just use this to measure with. Okay, tank is on. I think I've plugged everything in, and let's see if she starts. Ignition. Why does it say 3:05 on my clock? Ah, it's because I unplugged the main loom to the clocks. Oh no, that means I've probably lost all my mileage data. Ah, you silly boy. Okay. Start switch on. And I'll have to just prop you there for a minute. You might not be able to see because I have to hold the clutch in to start. Here we go. Let's see if I don't knock the phone off the bike. Runs. That's alright, it's kept all my data. That's how much I've done on this tank so far. That's the mileage. That's how many miles I've done on it since I've had it. I just need to reset the clock. Why is the fuel? Oh no, that's always on, I think. I think it just flashes when it's getting low. I'm getting paranoid. Anyway, she's running. Ooh. Just give it a minute, I'll turn it off and then top up the oil level again. Right, I don't know why I was revving it up. I was only going to start it for 30 seconds and then let the oil settle and then top it up, and then going to leave all of the rest of this, all of this stuff is going to go on tomorrow. But I'm not going to film putting all that back together because it was tedious enough filming taking it apart for you and for me. So she's running. Unless anything happens, that's the end of the video. I'll just turn the camera around and face you. Right then, that noise in the background is the last bit of oil draining out of this tub. Right, when she runs, I'm letting it settle down now and see where the oil level goes in the sight glass, and I shall top it up. I normally top it up cold to about the middle, maybe a little bit more between the two lines. I normally go to say 2/3 of the way, and then when it's hot and it's expanding, when you first stop and it's hot and all the oil comes down, it will normally sit at the top line. I don't like to fill it up cold to the top line because then when it's hot and the oil's expanding, is that too much oil? I don't know. On the XJR it said top line when it's hot and about in the middle when it's cold. I'll have to have a look in the manual, see what it says for the V-Strom, but that's what I normally do to all of them, and they all seem to be fine so far. In the middle is good for me. I know I'm safe then. Right, let's just pop you down. It's about 7:20. It's a good couple of hours since I started playing with this. All that fairing and bits and pieces. Yeah, the front spark plug was really annoying, tough. I didn't remember having that trouble on the 650. I seem to remember just swinging the rad out of the way, and I had the toolkit then, the same plug spanner with the 650 in that toolkit. I must have just used that and got it in and out, but it seemed to be a lot more difficult on this one for some reason, but it went in. And yeah, and then the plugs, 11 Newton meters. That's nothing. That is, you know, but there you go. That's what it is. That's why I thought the rear plug was loose, but it wasn't actually loose. It wasn't finger tight. I think that was just me overreacting to. I'm used to them being really tight. But anyway, the oil filter's not leaking and the sump plug's not leaking at this point in time. If it does start to seep, I'll nip up the oil filter, or I'll nip up the sump plug. It didn't have a new washer on there, even though the oil's just been changed, and I didn't have a washer in my collection. I've got quite a few sump plug washers, new ones. I didn't have, I'm just looking in the camera using it as a mirror to dust myself down. I didn't have a washer for it, so I've put a bit of black RTV just around the top of the washer and the bottom of the thread, nipped it up to 23. If it leaks, I'll nip it up or whatever, get another washer, drop the oil, save it, sieve it, put it back in. I've done that before. Anyway, that's it. This is probably a really long video. It's going to take me ages to stitch it all together, and there's all bits upside down and sideways, so apologies for that, but I really am no good at the editing and making it look all fancy. But thanks for bearing with me. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have all the plastics back on and all the engine guards and all that stuff. I still haven't looked to see what that's rattling somewhere. There's not a lot left on it now. There's only the headlight and the instruments, so I'll have a look at that tomorrow. I reckon there's a nut or a washer or a bolt, it's just travelling up and down. You can't hear it when you're riding it. It's just when the bike's off and it's stationary, if you move it anywhere, as the bike tilts, it just sort of, you can hear it rolling about in there. I thought it was in the fairing. There was loads of other stuff in the fairing. I tipped it upside down. There's all sorts of old bits of plastic plugs and gumph and everything else, so that's alright, that's clean. Anyway, it's been too long a video. I'll see you later. Thanks very much for watching. Ride safe, be happy, and above all, peace and love. I've been Springy. See ya.